Good morning, everybody. Wanted to take hopefully a quick video to show you guys our philosophies and to help coin a new phrase that is related off of a phrase made popular by Nicolette Nyman. It's not the cow, it's the how. Well, we say, specializing in sheep, it's not the sheep, it's the sleep. What we mean by that, a lot of producers think, and in some cases rightfully so, that sheep destroy pastures. Well, the management destroys pastures. It's the lack of sleep that destroys pastures. What I mean by that, unlike cattle, sheep have teeth and they can eat stuff all the way down the ground. And this, I thought, was a really opportune moment to describe this effect. We build pastures by having the correct amount of sleep. Intense impact, intense rest. There is a such thing as too much sleep. Very, very, very easy to do in areas of the world that get a whole lot of rain. Very hard to do in areas of the world that are arid, like some of our newer fans in Australia, people out in Nevada and parts of Arizona and New Mexico. But what I wanted to show you here is an example of over and under grazing in the exact same paddock. And there's a reason for it. So our rotation, as discussed a month or so ago, puts us into this part here. We did not plant any of this. This is all, we'll call it volunteer plants, mostly weeds. You have Johnson grass, quackgrass, ragweed, what else is in there? Foxtail, a lot of foxtail. Maybe some fescue, Kentucky 31 that has naturalized, and we were going to use the sheep to inoculate this and get it ready to be disked about now. We're not going to do that this year. We missed our time window. But the plan was to move them through this, have the sheep manure start to enliven the soil a bit more, and then run them down this beautifully prepared, wonderfully rich piece of pasture. It is our oldest on the farm, our most mature. We bought this farm. This was all soybeans less than 2 years ago. October 21st of 2016, it was taken off. So this pasture is very, very, very lush. There are blades of orchard grass in here that are 2.5 and 3 feet long. Beautiful, have that nice sheen indicating that they're high in fat. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful pasture. I could not in my wildest dreams have imagined we could build it so fast. When we bought this farm, this piece of pasture, we call it backfield, middle backfield, was 1.2% organic matter. Ohio's average is 3.1. The United States average is 2 point something. So 1.2 is atrocious. It was soybeans year after year after year. Granted, it was no-till soybeans. So there should have been less erosion, but with no-till, as people are discovering more recently, there's a whole lot of compaction. This piece of pasture that they have grazed down pretty hard was planted the fall of 2017. So it's a bit younger than that. But the difference is that had a whole growing season to establish itself, to be grazed a couple times before this was even planted. And then not to mention, this is also where we grazed and fed hay that first winter. So there's a lot more fertility that's been added just via the sheep and feeding hay. One of the things we must concern ourselves with is the nutrition of the sheep, the health of the sheep. We knew going from such lush, that's what it used to look like, to something like this, where they do not want to eat it. The ragweed, they'll strip that all the way down. But We need to make sure, one, their rumen doesn't abruptly change so quickly. You'll get a lot of sickness that way. But two, we want to make sure they have a complete diet, and having a diverse pasture is the best way. So we started transition paddock to help their stomachs and get them used to it. They don't like to eat this stuff unless it is pouring rain, has poured rain, and there's not a whole lot of seed heads. They would devour this. But you can see here, they ate the green section down to just about nothing. Now looking down straight on it, I see hardly any bare soil, which is good, but the actual plant material has been eaten down too low. I want at least 3 inches, if not 5, on most of these cool season grasses. That residual, as we call it, leaving that much, is what has helped us build that pasture over there. What's up, guys? You just love chewing your cud, don't you? So what we're gonna have to do, it's not the sheep, it's the sleep, right? In our rotations coming up, we're not going to graze this in the fall. We have to skip this. So that way these plants can recover and build up enough root reserves of energy in time for the winter. Man, she looks pretty skinny. We'll have to check her out. Ears drooping, eyes a little bit dull, sunken in. I mean, that's a great example. So we're out here, yes, in the grand scheme of time, our flock is very young. We're still selecting our genetics. We have purebred registered Katahdins and then 4 of these Dorper ewes. I believe 75%. Just because an animal is a big name doesn't mean they're going to do well in your system, especially if that big name's system is nothing like your own. Now, I don't want to put down the breeder, but this breeder would get $2,500 for a ram. Now, I am looking for him in here, but suffice it to say, homeboy is struggling. Yep, here he is right here. Hey, buddy. So the rams, oh, he's the only ram in here, dang it. Well, anyway, we have lambs out of our own ewes who are thriving, who look way healthier than that guy. And that guy, starting out, had a whole lot of grain and a whole lot of help. We can't afford to give grain, especially because we're understocked, meaning I don't have enough animals to manage this much pasture, which is an awesome problem if you think about it. A lot of people in the world say we don't have enough land to feed all of our grass eating animals grass. They think it's more efficient to grow the corn and soy and wheat separate, figure out how to fertilize it, add all the chemicals, ruin the soil, create dust storms that people don't realize still exist, and then truck it to feed animals who have specifically evolved / being created to eat the grass. It's madness. It is a fallacy to say we're running out of room to feed the world. It's crap. We have a food distribution problem. We have a lack of soil health knowledge problem. In producing sheep the way we have been, we supported more wildlife. There is now a complete ecosystem on our farm, to include all the way up to predatory birds returning. In less than 2 years, we already have the ability, with our grazing and improving our soil, to have 3 to 5 times as many cattle per acre as almost any of our neighbors here, without feeding hay. And every time we try to keep up with and match how many animals our land can hold, and we get that number just right, the land gets healthier and healthier and healthier. And what does that mean? We can grow more and more and more food. No technology needed, and that's the problem. Technology is what pays for the misinformation. Big money is what pays for the misinformation. What we're doing can be done by anybody. And that's why I really respect Warren Buffett's son, Howard Buffett's mission in third world countries to teach them about soil health and how to do things without the aid, or as I like to describe it, interference of developed world's products. This stuff, what we're doing here, anybody, anywhere in the world can take a set of sheep, use our principles. Obviously, probably the plants are going to be different. The timelines are going to be different. But just cover the soil, intense impact, intense rest. And those principles were not created by me. It was created by a lot of wonderful people that have come before me that I'm riding on the shoulders of. But anyway, so as I was saying, we were going to continue them through that weedy patch of stuff we have not planted. But in taking inventory of what's going on in our pastures, this piece, also planted the fall of 2017, is starting to get pretty weedy. There's not a whole lot of grass down here. The organic matter is still pretty low comparatively. We have not grazed this very often. So what I would rather do is let the sheep loose, set up our paddock over here, especially with it being this hot. We'll anchor them to the woods over there on the edge. We'll bring them over here, and what we need them to do is graze this, inoculate the soil again with their manure. And if they leave some of these tall plants, which I doubt because they're going to have enough nutrition in here to eat the cardboard that is some of the stuff that they're grazing right now. If they leave some of that, if it's really bad enough, we'll bush hog it. We're going to do everything in our power to not have to bush hog this part, but you have got to keep it vegetative. And if you're afraid of bush hogging, then your soils are just going to senesce. They're going to say, hey, I'm not getting grazed, I'm not getting cut down, so I'm going to put out a seed, and then you have land succession start happening. The bison are what prevented the plains from going and becoming woodlands. The bison created the plains. So, to say that again, ruminants are what prevent woodlands from happening. Ruminants create grasslands. It is not the other way around. So, our goal here is to maximize how much grass we have to graze over the winter, which is a point of profitability. We have to feed less hay to maximize the sheep health and to maximize the long-term soil organic matter, while also always providing a healthy and diverse habitat for wildlife. If anyone has any questions about what we've covered in this video, please email us. Like us on Facebook, Semper Grazing Ranch. Share this video with somebody who completely disagrees with everything I'm saying. Bring it on. They cannot refute what we are doing. This isn't just two people talking at Panera Bread about why veganism is the best thing for the environment. We're doing it. We're in the field. We know what food production takes. This is it right here. The best thing for the environment. And really, if our cattle were back here and our chickens and ducks and pigs, and we had a more diverse array of livestock, yes, that is one way we could easily make this better. But you see, we've got fruit trees, we've got nut trees, we have nut bushes, we've got fruit bushes, we have herbs back here, we've got all kinds of stuff going on a very little bit of land. This is the kind of stuff that will help fight the rural poverty and drug epidemic. Are we crazy for thinking so big? Well, God's called us here, and we believe our God is bigger than our own limitations. And he has proven that time and time and time again. We don't have everything in the world, but we have everything we need just when we need it, and it is his doing, not mine. I will leave you with a shot of our future fruit orchard. You guys take care.